Now, I'm curious for all of you in relation to your business and your line one. Are there any particular comments that you can share related to, how that, because we talked a lot about life and a lot of general stuff and a little bit of business, but I just like to go a little bit further, like your line one in business, how does that serve you? Probably a good way to ask. Like, how does that serve you, or where do you find some of the traps? So Debbie, one of the things you talked about by doing your certification is that almost waiting like so long to the point that somebody else had to be like, hey, and trust me, I know that experience. I just did my level 4 certification recently. I took the program last year. So like finally I just got to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm more annoyed that I haven't submitted my, it's certification, process exam thing and gotten the certification. Like now I know I'm ready because I'm actually frustrated. I don't have it. So I know
Yeah.
sometimes it can sit on it.
Well, and it was for me ultimately. It was when she kind of like I call her my Chiron sister because we have the same Chiron gates. But she was, come on, you know it, just do it. And I was like, you know what? But I needed to find myself a safety net. So it's like, you know what? I used my dad's chart for the level 4, and I was like, I'm just gonna make some notes and I'm gonna voice record it. I'm gonna listen back and I can redo it. Like it's okay. I'm not gonna explode if I don't get it right the first time. Like I can redo it. But when I found that calm and started doing the examination, which is like a reading of a chart, right? Just weaving the whole story together, it came to me so naturally. And it was because I did have all the information. It's all in there. And so being able to just take a step back and be like, okay, how can I do this in a way that feels good for me, that feels safe for me? And as far as in business goes, like with clients, like I'm a great resource. If somebody's talking about, or if it comes up that it feels like, we do some inner child work, I can reference them to so many, beautiful meditations, for instance. Or yeah, I could just, I have a link to this and let me send you that. And so there's value in that as well. And also I do have a good foundation, and in combination with a 5 line, like really being able to listen, like somebody mentioned that before, like really ability to listen and go deeper. You said that, Kara, right? To just, go a little bit deeper and what's below that, what's behind that. And to do that investigating as well. I think I would have been a great private detective, actually, if I'd gone down that road.
I think the same thing sometimes. I'm like, oh, just go deep, go deep, go deep. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that's my experience as far as my studies and my own personal development and business development and my clients and stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. Karen?
So I do integrative wellness coaching and human design. So it's a lot about like physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and how it all comes together, right? Like, so the investigator in my work is about excavating those layers, because it to me is like you're constantly peeling back these layers and going another layer deeper, investigating everything that's there. For me, it's a lot about like pulling apart details and like, I have the channel of 1333, which is like the prodigal. So I can really listen and I can really hear, like my investigator is listening intently. And when I'm in a flow, I can hear the words coming out of the client's mouth that lead me to the next layer, that are the breadcrumbs to go deeper. And I mean, it's so funny. Like I feel like my chart all works together. Like the spleen has to have that existential awareness in the moment in order to be able to project anything into the future, or look back at the past, or know what to investigate. And so it's really, really about like being deeply grounded in the moment, and then just letting that letting the curiosity kind of lead the whole thing. And it's like that's the vibe of the line 1 for me, is there's always going to be digging. And so it's like waiting for the moment and the circumstances to arise where I'm like, oh, that's where to dig. But it's also like, I turned 44 a couple days ago, and I'm feeling like it's all starting to make sense now. All of the curiosity from the first half of my life, where I'm like, oh, okay. So when I randomly started reading books about quantum physics in the 90s, that actually comes into play with quantum human design, and like understanding what neutrinos are and understanding what string theory is, and like having all of this metaphorical knowledge to bring into a human design reading. It's kind of like, well, I guess it's all working out, but it serves me every day, but I won't know how until I'm in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's because of, like you said, all that accumulated information that you can not always remember offhand, but draw out when it gets triggered, I guess, if you want. Triggered might not be the right word, but you know what I mean? It's
but it's like it's unlocked.
Mm.
And there's something about the frequency of the correct invitation and recognition where it really unlocks it. And so like you can kind of like get into this deeper level of like, people who are on my fractal are the ones that are asking me the questions where I'm like, oh, I am the resource for you. And so it kind of feeds itself, you know?